Hey booktube, it's Eric. I am back with another book haul. Today I went out and I hit the Kiwanis sale, I hit a Salvation Army, hit a used bookstore, and I hit a couple of library sales, plus a library book nook or two. And my friend gave me a couple books that he had picked up recently. So without further ado, my buddy gave me this, Kim Jong-il production. This is about the true story of the kidnapped filmmaker and his star actress in North Korea. I hope to get to that at some point. I have a lot of stuff, but this does look interesting. All right, he also gave me all three of these J.K. Parker novels that he's been going on about. He found them locally used. Funny story, he gives me these this morning. We leave, we go to the Kiwanis sale, we pick up some stuff. We go to a local library sale. He walks in, he finds all three of them again. So he replenished his stock. All right, these are all kind of mix and match. I'm not really going to go too far into depth about where they came from, but I remember having this back in the 80s, never read it. I was happy to find this for a couple bucks. This one was found at a used store. Based on the Tex Murphy video games, I'm going to give this a shot. This looks like kind of 80s neo-noir cyberpunk stuff. Same place I found Jack Ketchum's Off-Season. Ketchum is a horror author who passed away recently in the last couple of months. I've never read any of his books, so I figured I would give one a shot. Okay. 3 Jonas Ward Buchanan Westerns. I used to read a lot of Westerns. I haven't in a while. I've started collecting these Buchanan books, so I hope to get to these. I like the fact that they're short, that they're slim. I know that some of them are written by Brian Garfield, who's a writer that I like, so I look forward to getting to these. Another Western I bought, Edge is one of those men's adventure Western series from the 80s that I never really picked up on, and I found this for 50 cents, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Found a copy of Ed McBain's 10+1, 87th Precinct series. If you haven't read these are the gold standard for police procedural. Definitely check them out. Stephen King's Night Shift collection with the die-cut cover. I haven't seen one of these in forever. Hot Cars, Fast Elves, and Rock and Roll. Yeah, it might be garbage, but I'll give it a shot. Paperback from Hell, The Religion. No idea this was like a dime at Salvation Army, so that went in my bag. So I picked up a couple of Mac Bolan Executioners early numbers. These ones these two are obviously later printings. This one's more an early one. They had some others that were trashed or later printings that I wasn't interested in. I know people who are interested in these, so I'm hopefully going to trade some of these with people. I used to have all of these. I read these all back in, I don't know, high school or college or something. I'm sure they don't hold up, but grab it when I see it. Never read any Able Team, but I grabbed this one as well. Alrighty. Who remembers Choose Your Own Adventure? This was the Dungeons & Dragons TSR series. I have a couple that I've had since I was a child. One that my father bought me, one that was my brother's. And so when I see these, I pick them up. Yeah, I don't know that I'll read these, but these are kind of fun to have, cool to have, and very nostalgic for me. Shel Scott, Richard Prather's Dead Heat. Yeah, I've got a whole lot of these, but if I see them cheaply enough, and it's not in great condition, I will pick them up. Who Censored Roger Rabbit? This was the basis for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Let's see. Yeah. I remember seeing this around a lot back in the day. I never read it, never picked it up, but saw it at sale and grabbed it. Novelization of Hudson Hawk. Sure, why not? Martin Cruz-Smith's Nightwing. Now, I have a 70s copy of this from last fall or something I found at a sale. This is going to be a reading copy. It's in much better condition, and it's more recent printing, so I figured I'd pick that up for reading purposes. Hugh Pentecost, The Golden Trap. I've got one of his giant John Jericho novels that I want to read, so I saw this. This is one of his other series. and I figured I'd grab that and check it out. Another copy of The Last Good Kiss. This is James Crumley. Classic counterculture detective story. This one's not in such great shape, but that's okay. I have a more recent vintage Black Lizard printing that I can read if I want. I just like to have another copy with a cooler cover. A couple of Conan books. I know people that want these. I've got a bunch of them. Once again, these are mainly for trading. I might read some of them. I like the Howard stuff, not so much with the other people's take on Conan. All right, Paperbacks from Hell, Mazes and Monsters. Whoever donated a bunch of the stuff put tape on the edges, which I don't really mind. It keeps them in good shape. I read this back in the day, and this was the definition of wooden characters. This was written in like 6 weeks by somebody who had no clue what role-playing games were about, and it's kind of a classic 80s scare thing. So anybody that tells you that, oh, kids today in their moral panic, this stuff was demonized back in 82, 83. This is based on the true case that happened at Michigan State University where a kid disappeared. He was like 16, 17 years old. He'd been sent to Michigan State because he was a child prodigy. There was no supervision for him. He was struggling with his sexual identity, and he vanished. And he happened to play Dungeons and Dragons a couple of times, so that's what it got blamed on. And this book is kind of the response to that moral panic. All right, I need to drink some water real quick. All right, we're getting there. Len Deighton's $1 Billion Brain. I recently saw the Ken Russell movie, which I quite enjoyed. So I figured I'd pick up the paperback. My buddy had given me a bunch of the books in this series, and I found another one. I have yet to read them, but I'm hoping to give them a shot sooner rather than later. More Paperback from Hell nonsense. I heard this was good, so I figured I'd give that a shot. Gaslight. This is based on a novelization based on the stage play, which of course was made into the classic film. Don't know much about this, but I liked the first line, so I picked it up. Excuse me, kind of science fiction-y, near future stuff. The first line kind of hooked me. There were stories in sweat. So, hope to give that a shot. Sorry. Okay. Copy of the Bachman books with Rage in it. If you know anything, this is Stephen King's early novels, and Rage is out of print for obvious reasons that I don't need to go into. But I had a smaller paperback version of this once upon a time. The Long Walk is the gem in this series. I don't understand why that wasn't made into a movie during the height of the Hunger Games craze. Screenplay for LA Confidential, one of my favorite books of all time, made into a great movie. I saw the screenplay, grabbed that. Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs. I like Klosterman stuff on occasion, so I grabbed that. Crime Classics. I've been picking up a lot of these anthologies that you see around. I picked this one up because I wanted to read some... Who was it? There's Cornell Woolrich, and there is Ellery Queen, and G.K. Chesterton, who I've never read. So I figured hopefully I'll get to some short stories in there. Alrighty, we're getting there. Paperbacks from Hell, Brian Lumley. No idea what this was, but it was a dime. Zebra with one of those great embossed covers. Never heard of Kate Stewart, and this is not part of the William Johnstone Cat or Devils series. And then finally, my apologies, Paperbacks from Hell, Del Abyss series. This is the only one I've ever run across since I became aware of them, and so I snatched it up. No idea if it's going to be any good, but at any rate, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Oh, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Tell me which of these looks interesting, if any of these scream out at you, let me know.